everybody. Now, before I got on the stage, the TEDx team asked me to stand inside the red dot. And I thought, I'll just walk around the red dot and to see how that feels. Boundaries, comfort zone. A place we tend to spend most of our time in, don't we? Now, thinking about starting your career, making a career change, or reaching your career fulfillment, how does it make you feel? Anxious or excited? Doubtful or hopeful? Guilty or content? Well, most of my clients feel a mix of these emotions, and I felt them too. 2001, 23 years ago, I was studying by myself in a foreign country. 2 months after I arrived at my host family, one morning, waking up, my host family was making porridge. She said, "Pass me the pot, please, sweetheart." And I stood there and looked at her. She repeated herself 3 times. I couldn't understand. I thought, I better do something about it. Especially, I have this habit of facing towards a corner, looking at my phone at parties. So if I really wanted to integrate into the culture and just really enjoy my life in a foreign land, I better do something about my interpersonal skills. So I thought, in the summer, I'm going to get myself a part-time job. So I printed out my CV, which had hardly anything on it, my name, phone number, and email address, and I thought I'll just take it down to my local high street. Now, LinkedIn was founded a couple of years later. If I knew LinkedIn was on the card, I'd probably procrastinated because I feel very uncomfortable to walk on the high road asking these shops whether they needed somebody to work for them in the summer. So literally, it took me 20 minutes to cover all those 8 shops. Nobody took an interest. And I thought, well, I'm just going to take the bus down the road, 6 minutes ride. There's 6 more shops. So the next day, I did exactly the same. Again, nobody took an interest, except this one lady in the newsagent. And she said to me, "Well, Tony, I don't think I've got anything for you here in this shop. But I've got a couple of kids, and I might need some help to watch them in the summer." And I said, "Great, do they speak English?" And she said, yeah, they speak English. And I thought, great, that's about the same level for me, I take it. The truth was, actually at the end of the summer, my ability to read the newspaper has improved drastically. But these kids really helped me with my pronunciation, because literally, they would correct every single line that I read. So by the end of the summer, I was leaving, and this lady told me, she said, "Well, Tony, I really saw something in you, and the reason why that I offer something to you was because I've been running my news agent for 18 years, and you're the first one who walked in asking for a job." And that instilled this deep sense of courage in me to tackle many of the challenges coming later in life. I didn't know at the time, I was actually helping bring neutrons to identify a new pathway to increase the neuroplasticity in my brain. Research shows that when we step out of the comfort zone, somehow it helps us become more resilient and creative towards problem solving. So in year 2008, I decided to move to the UK alone, explore a wider world. 2 months before I boarded the plane, my friends rang me, and they went, "Financial crisis, you better think about it. You probably should delay your trip." And I thought, I already quit my job by then, I might as well just go ahead with it. I might make a mess of it, but maybe I'll just make it work. And a few years later, I was made redundant at work. By the way, it's probably one of the best things ever happened to me. I thought, hooray, finally, maybe I can give myself an excuse to explore what it feels like to work alone, independently, and becoming a coach. Then my mom rang me, and she went, What? I think you should find another job. You've got a mortgage to pay. You sure you don't want to give another think? And I thought, I'll just give it a go. Maybe I'll make a mess of it, but maybe I'll just make it work. So just like many of my clients who are on their own career journey, whether it's to pivoting their careers or starting your careers, is one most common obstacle that everyone is facing is the restriction that you set for yourself, the comfort zone. So I'm not here today to convince anyone about reaching your fulfilling career, because that, let's face it, is not a linear transaction. It's not A or B, black or white. Sometimes people are on their own journey, and the decision comes with the right timing. However, there are 3 things I will recommend you today that will just help you to challenge your comfort zone and may lead you a step closer towards your career fulfillment. The first thing is setting authentic goals. Now, researchers found when the dots are joined between who you are, what you believe, and what you are doing, people find themselves more purposeful. In other words, the goal must be yours, not anyone else. You can't copy and paste what other people are doing. And I'm going to validate this theory by telling you a story. 12 years ago, I met Jessie, who is studying at one of the best business schools in the world. And she had one goal that year was to get into investment banking. Now, if the success rate of 1 to 2% to get into investment banking isn't threatening enough to compete as an international student, speaking with a language that's not her native, is quite a fearful thing. And on top of that, she already networked with a couple of bankers who told her the chance to get into front office is minimal due to her lack of work experience and the competitive nature of investment banking. So we sat down, we had a little chat, and she went off. And 6 months later, I got an email titled, "I Go In." And when I opened that email, she actually received 3 job offers from all the investment banks. So I sat down with her at the end of the year and asked her, what have you done this year has led you to where you were? She laughed and she said, well, Tony, this year I had 100 cappuccinos. So that's 100 coffee chats. She completely went beyond the initial 2 rejections and continued on her journey. Now you're probably thinking, I see what you mean, networking. Well, what's her method? I'm going to copy and paste, just use her method. I'm going to get the same amount of coffee chats. Well, you can try, like most of her peers did that year. But the chances are you can get in, but that might make you happy. Or you can try to copy and paste the method, but that might not last long. For Jessie, I remember her face, her voice changed when she described to me the passion she had digging deep on conducting company information, curating her own portfolios, analyzing the market trends. For her, it was her authentic goal. She told me, even if I don't get into investment banking, I'll always be trading on the side. She started trading since the age of 16. So when you think about your career goals, when you think about that change you wanted to make, be authentic, be mindful, make sure it's coming inside of you. Because the greater desire you have towards reaching your goal, the more authentic it is. It will fuel your motivation to step out of your comfort zone to take actions. The second thing is curiosity. And I first learned this 20 years ago when I was studying in the uni. I was doing this downward facing dog pose on the yoga mat. Have you all seen that in the yoga class? Your body is supposed to create this triangle shape with the yoga mat. I was awkward. I didn't know what I was doing. I was doing this plank thing or something else. I can't even explain it to you. I was stuck. And I tried to hide because I didn't want my friends to see me stuck on the yoga mat. And the more I hid, And the more intense I felt, and the teacher saw me and she walked over and she said something I'll never forget. She went, "Why are you hurting yourself? Just be curious with your body and see where you can make adjustments to ease up, to feel more settled in the pose." That was really the light bulb moment for me. And it really got me to think a lot of things that happened to me at the time outside of the yoga mat. And looking back, that's probably one of the reasons that I became a yoga teacher and a coach and became really interested in therapy, transformational method, because this deep realization between how curiosity creates creativity and space for thinking, and how to make these tiny adjustments just to ease up the bottlenecks and the obstacles happening in life was really a profound one. And to ease up doesn't mean that you make less effort. To ease up just means that you become more free, to give yourself the permission and the wisdom to approach things differently. So, we all know the feelings of stuck in a job has no sense of joy, purpose. We also know the implications of not doing anything about it. The question that we can ask ourselves is that what's that one tiny adjustment that we can make today to allow ourselves to ease that tiny bit of discomfort that we feel, to increase the tiny margin towards our fulfillment. What would that be? That will help you step out of your comfort zone. The last thing is challenging your belief system. What I found really among midlife experience professionals are that very often they find themselves in this inner dilemma between talking to themselves to explore a little bit more about their innermost desire to make them feel alive and the responsibilities that life throws at them. So they hide it, they numb it, they pretend they don't see it. And some would only become aware of it when they get sick. This doubt and uncertainty scare them more than creating possibilities. This false comfort zone of not doing anything to explore what make them feel alive is as painful as just showing up at the job that means nothing except getting paid. I had this client called Michael, very successful entrepreneur, 7-figure a year. He is a workaholic. And his goal is very simple, to work 20 hours a week. So Michael was told to work hard for as long as he could remember, and he inherited this way of working from his father, who turned into a workaholic himself at the loss of his parents at a very young age. So for Michael, on one hand, this hard-working ethic that he inherited from his dad really allowed him to expand his business exponentially, globally, and he's very proud that he can pay his employees well. But the negative side of this excessive working is he has allowed this hard-working ethic to break his boundaries, and now the problems are controlling him. To break free from the limitations we set ourselves in, we really have to examine our default mode, our comfort zone. We need to go on this very reflective journey to explore the origin of our belief system. Who restricted us? Whose belief is it? Who and what has stopped us from accessing our most magic power to imagine, to feel, and to create possibilities? Our parents, our teachers, our societies, our friends, or ourselves. It could be one or all. For Michael, he described to me the problem he has with excessive working is almost like this dysfunctional love affair. He realized that it's not his belief, it's a belief he inherited of his dad. He realized that it was a time for him to agreeing with his problem on how to live peacefully going forward, and to give himself the permission to create life on his own terms. So, going forward on your own journey, be authentic with your goals. Make sure you truly wanted it. Be curious to listen to yourself. And pick up the little things along the way and doing those things to make you feel energized and alive. And be brave enough to challenge your comfort zone, to give yourself the permission to live the life that you want it to be. It's never too late to step out of the comfort zone to create the better versions of yourself. The feelings of living the life that make you feel alive is undoubtedly really great. The feeling of suppressing what is meant for you can be intense too. And we are responsible for choosing how we want to feel, to work, and to live. So choose wisely. Thank you.